Alright, some people might be worried about how they're going to change their shock fluid, because in the owner's manual it says that the shocks, if they've been taken apart, they need to be put back together at a certain length. Well, part of that is true, but if you're taking apart the shock just to put in new fluid, thicker fluid, or just cleaning the shocks up, you're not really going to have to worry about that. But changing shock fluid is pretty simple. You're just going to need to take out this bolt holding the shock on. Just simply take the shock out. You're going to make it easier. You're going to want to thread all the adjustment all the way back up to the top, so you have some room with the shock. Then you're just going to want to pull back on the spring and just simply take this little piece off of the shock. So then you can slide the spring off, and then you just have complete control over the shock. Now you're going to just want to hold the shock, if you can, with your hand, and just kind of twist using a nut driver or an Allen wrench will help get more leverage. Then you just kind of want to unscrew the cap. There should be a little blue seal in there. Then what I do, just make it simple, is just pour the shock fluid out onto a paper towel. And just kind of let it drain. Maybe pump it a few times. Let the rest of the fluid kind of drip out. You can put it in a Ziploc bag or a Tupperware container or something if you want to save it, but usually you don't really want to save your old, dirty shock fluid. Just kind of put it down and just kind of work it and make sure you get all the fluid out. Then what you're just going to want to do is just get some more shock fluid. I recommend using 100% silicone shock fluid. If your stock shocks, if it bottoms out pretty easy on jumps and that, you're going to want to upgrade to a thicker fluid. I think it has either 35 or 40 weight stock. Well, I'm mainly kind of a basher. I'm not too good of a racer, so I'm using 50 weight shock fluid. It seems to work pretty good. Just kind of helps more dampen the impact of jumps and stuff. I'm just going to want to simply just kind of pour in some shock fluid. And what's cool about the traxxas revo is if you say overfill the shock, when you screw the cap on, it's got a little hole where the excess oil can come out. I don't know if you can see it on camera really, but there's a little hole that just makes sure it's to the exact amount of oil. Once you do that, you can pretty much just kind of wipe it off, make sure it's nice and clean. If it's oily still, dirt and dust, and that's going to stick to it, it's just going to be a mess. So once your shock is pretty much cleaned up, you can just simply put your spring back on, pull it up, and then just take your retainer and put it up on the shaft and just kind of slide it forward. Then you can spin your threaded preload adjustment down back to whatever setting it was. I mean, you can mark it, you can count the lines, or you can just look at the other shock on your vehicle if you haven't taken them off both at the same time. Maybe give it one last wipe. And just simply put it back onto your car again. Long screws go in first, closest to the motor. Just simply spin them in. It's tight. You're not going to want to get a lot of pressure on, just till it's snug. Then just match your shock up with the into the rocker and put your small screw in. Just until it's snug. You're not going to want to over tighten it, but you're not going to want to leave it loose. Just snug. That's pretty much just how you change shock fluid on a Traxxas Mini e-Revo. Thanks for watching.